Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. This time, let that be your last battlefield. Yeah, this was a live one from the West Grandview Fringe Festival this year. And so we got a lot of special guests. You'll hear them. And this is a fun episode. Speaking of geeky things like that, the good, the bad, and the geeky, or GBG as the hip cats call it, it's a pop culture podcast that's been around for a whole decade. Sometimes there are movie and TV review discussions with a variety of guests. There's varieties of guests everywhere. Discussions, and sometimes host Nick Arkenbright just gives his thoughts in a short drive-by. Actual drive-by, driving handsless, it's safe. So check out the GBG guys that have been doing it for a decade. Speaking of people that have been doing it for a while, it's the IABD folks. Go to IABDpresents.com. Check out everything else we got. Go to patreon.com/IABD. Ways to support us. Get that bonus content all for you at patreon.com/IABD. Speaking of content, the dirty kind, Dirty Story Night. Yeah, we got a lot of them out there. We're still releasing some. There's still releasing more while we're doing acronyms. NSFW. Not safe for work. Not for safe work. It's not safe for work. Keep your earbuds in while you're listening to this. Enjoy it at home. Maybe enjoy it with some friends. It could get your evening going. Dirty Story Night, IABDpresents.com. And right now, let this be your last battlefield. It's Let That Be Your Last Battlefield episode of It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. This time we are live from OGP's West Grandview Fringe Fest.
Yeah!
Look at that huge crowd, man. Can we even see the back of them? Stephen is here.
Hello.
Yeah. And Jimmy-Jerome. Thank you. And we will have other people come up, hopefully, and talk during our podcast. But we are going to talk about Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. As always, we start with first impressions.
Polarizing is a strong thing to say about this episode. There are people that think it's really awesome, and there are people that think it's really terrible.
Wait, there's people that think this episode's really awesome?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why?
I think this time it was whatever, my 2008 perspective. I think when the points they make about racism and all that stuff, those moments, that was when actually the least like MST3K stuff was going on here. We had a good audience, and actually
we did have a vocal
in a good way.
Live, everybody watched it home by themselves because that would be totally.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I think that's when people fell silent. I think those points, unfortunately, are still relevant now, maybe more than ever. We'll get into all the reasons why it's a really not good episode beyond that. So I think I fall in the middle, and actually a lot of people fall in the middle of where they're just like, it's mediocre was the word I read today in my research. That's
how I would describe it. I mean,
yeah.
You're right. There were some absolutely good allegorical points.
Yeah.
For its time were, relevant. Still relevant, but for its time were, about as soft-handed as they could. Just getting it past the censors was a
right. Well,
challenge.
This is true,
but I don't think it was a great episode.
No.
You want to come up?
Alana's coming on the mic.
You mean with that makeup they got it past the censors?
Obviously, if it was on the screen.
Like halfsies.
This is Alanna.
Hi.
Which they really didn't know how they wanted to show that until like 2 weeks before they started filming.
Yikes, man.
Originally, the idea was their bottom half would be black and their top half would be white and vice versa.
Of course the bottom half would be black because that's what I was thinking.
Well, no, one of the guys are going to be stuck with the bottom half being white.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor guy.
That poor guy.
Exactly.
Through this short
I assume
straw,
the black
that
elf
one.
on top was the superior species.
Obviously.
Wait, no, the other way.
I don't.
around.
Yeah, I don't know. And then actually, the director was like, "Why don't you just split it in half?" And they're like, "Okay," but they didn't really have an idea until then. They didn't know how they
People
had.
actually believe that, like, if you miscegenate it, they're like, oh, you just be halfsies or polka dotters.
Well, and don't they say that in the episode? I think Kirk's the one who's like, "Well, one time you're all one."
Well, monochromatic, yeah, and they were very much like, "Oh, you monochromes."
Yeah, I wrote that down. The you monocollared trash.
Since we're kind of dancing around it, and this is as close as we're gonna get to fashion, let's do your fashion segment.
Fashion.
We always have a fashion segment. If you're new to this podcast, I think the makeup's relevant in the fashion section. Mary Sink, who was a watched the episode with me. I don't know about you guys.
Sure.
She's unfortunately not here today. She commented that Loki,
right?
Had it almost looked like a red line down the middle of their face, but Bella or Belle, whatever, did not seem to have that.
Beale.
Okay. Thank you. Beale did not seem to have that red line. Did you notice
That's
that?
what made them different.
No, I thought it was interesting that the makeup was
Uh,
not just
I
a
like
color.
the commonality of the red thread, like there's this thing called the red thread that connects us all. We're like, oh yeah, you have that. I'm like, oh yeah, we're all one thing. But like the fact that the other character did not have one is like,
Yeah, that was
I
weird,
wonder if it's
wasn't
like is that someone just like messing up?
What'd you think of the costumes they were wearing?
I thought that what was clear from that was that their genitalia was the same.
Well,
Same
that's
size.
true.
It was prominently on display in sick bay and the rest of the show.
So the black half clearly went around the genitalia.
Yeah, and I guess there are some figures, and I guess you don't have these, Jerome, but
Action
Jimmy-Jerome. Yeah, that
Yeah, I don't have Bella.
that are either Beal.
Beal,
They're either
whatever. God, I can't. I give up. I'm
actually there's on the
sitting right
on the blooper reel is Frank Gorshin saying Bella
it's-
repeatedly, and it's Beal. But
Bella.
What's
Bella.
B-E-L-E?
Yeah, right.
I guess that's Beal.
well, that's why you're part of the inferior race.
That's like
On what's
I
the
am
name?
black on my left side.
Yeah. So I think there's a set of action figures where it splits halfway down. So they're black on the left and black on the right on the lower half, and
I
vice
had
versa.
a 9-inch
They're
action
like
figure of
checkerboards.
Bella.
Yeah.
Of Belle.
Beal.
Beal. God, thank you. I just give up.
you, Bonnie.
I had a 9-inch action figure of Beal, like the big tall one.
Were
Yeah.
I don't anymore. But I didn't have the actual like 5.5 or 6-inch figures of these guys. Yeah, no. I think their costumes were, I mean, I noticed they wore gloves, which to me was just to
Yeah.
save on the
No,
makeup.
It was. That's exactly what it
save
was.
The makeup, but also like was a kind of callback to like the whole minstrel thing, like
It
you know,
could.
minstrel.
Oh.
Like, and minstrel theater, like white people playing quote unquote square.
Who are also
like,
probably
black
trying to
people
save on
wearing,
makeup
like,
costs.
They wore
Yeah.
gloves to like
Yeah.
save the same thing, but like it was kind of like that whole untouchable thing where like oh you can't touch actual people because you're black.
Speaking of saving money on costs, the invisible ship that Beal had, that was
Just to save money.
They say that's the biggest like, oh, we're not even going to spend money on that. Let's just make the ship invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think that's the biggest budget cut of season 3.
I mean,
Well, I think that like kind of proves that like people of darker speakers have like better technology. You can't even see it.
well, I mean, they've been chasing each other for 50,000
Yeah,
years.
what the hell?
Put a pin in that for a second because
50,000.
I want to keep talking about the budget cuts.
50,000.
I want to come back to that.
50,000. I appreciate this as anyone's listening to podcasts. Every time they mention years, I'm like, what? Whose years? 50,000 of your solar years.
Right, the Terran years.
And they were talking to everybody but Spock, apparently.
But budget-wise, I noticed something else. A shot of the bridge from behind Kirk. That was not Chekhov at the Navigator Station.
No.
Chekhov was in that.
That happened a few times, yeah.
They used
Speaking of
wide shots. from
Hadley,
the
it was Hadley.
Season 3, the budget was not much.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, 50,000. So these two individuals, they're like practically immortal. And they've been chasing each other longer than mankind has existed?
Yeah, I've been chasing them for 50,000 years. I guess because they're impervious to phasers and they had all this mental telepathy skills. Why is the Enterprise even involved in this episode? I mean, why is Beal like, oh, I guess I need to get on the ship to get this guy back? Why not just use your mental telepathy to do whatever you need? If you can control a starship,
I mean, it's always good to have a control group, you know, like someone who isn't a part of it.
I guess, but yeah, it just was like,
No, it's super obnoxious. Like, just get it over.
I mean, they have this really advanced technology, but oh, my ship's going to disintegrate right as I reach the Enterprise. After 50,000 years. It just didn't make a lot of
right,
sense.
and to be fair, Lokai never had a good excuse for why he stole that shuttlecraft.
No, he did. I mean, maybe his ship disintegrated earlier, and now he had to...
Originally, it had the markings of the Galileo 7
they
in the
changed
original effects, but
in the updated effects.
yeah, they're like they've changed it to
It wasn't
SB4 for
the Galileo
Starbase
anymore.
4. Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
The updated effects are pretty good.
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I know there were some complaints of people I watched it with, because clearly we did not publicly show it.
Just people we talked to about.
People we talked to were like, man, why didn't we watch the old effects?
Well, and-
because Netflix has the new effects.
I know we've
iTunes
discussed
and
tractor
Blu-ray.
beams on here before, and
Yeah.
the Enterprise tractor beams in that shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it didn't seem like I'm going to invoke Star Wars.
Go for it.
Remember when they tractor beam in the Millennium Falcon and the Death Star?
Yeah.
Yeah. straight on.
It wasn't
piece
a very
of cake.
smooth. It wasn't
Very smooth.
Maybe they were drunk too, Steve.
But in this one, yeah, you're right. But in this one, like the Enterprise, like it's all over the place, but they're still able to get it into the shuttle bay.
Yeah, we had some interesting guest stars. Lokai. Louis Antonio.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with him, but he's best known for Coco.
Oh.
And he was a director for Chicago Hope.
He was in Coco the movie, like
With no, he played Coco. Sorry, in Cool Hand Luke. With Paul.
I was gonna say Cool Hand Luke's his biggest part. Yeah.
And then this was what he's third best known for. So he had a wide-ranging career.
He did a lot of directing. He directed many episodes of Dawson's Creek, which excited me.
I love Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, me too.
I mean Joey's Creek. But anyway, that's a whole other
That's for when we rewatch. Yeah, that's when we do the Dawson's Creek rewatch.
I mean, I think after Star Trek, clearly Dawson's Creek's the next logical choice.
In like 10 years, all right?
15, 20 at this point. Now
if they keep making new Star Trek,
starring in a new Star
Stewart's
Trek.
back, yo!
Yeah, months ago, you guys learned that Patrick Stewart's starring in a new Star Trek series. We're really far ahead on recording. And then we had Frank Gorshin joining the lineup of Batman guest stars this season. He played the Riddler in the Adam West Batman series. Played Beale. Hey, I said it right.
You got it. Yeah.
I enjoy Frank Gorshin. I feel like he was the villain again. I almost wish he was the hero just so we could see some variety.
Yeah, he's one of the first. He's also one of the first impressionist comics that played Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And he ended up dying of lung cancer because he smoked 5 packs a day.
That happened.
Well, they think that probably contributed.
Do they have any proof?
No.
Well, that doesn't seem very logical.
But
yeah. Who else have we had this season? We had Catwoman.
Yep. Julie Newmar. Not Barbara. Yvonne Craig.
Yeah. So.
Oh, So, I think from what I hear from the people that watched it around the time we did, there's those crazy zoom shots of the Red Alert.
The Red Alert? Yeah, we've never had that before.
Those were supposedly an homage to Batman. Because Frank Gorshin was in the episode.
I heard. Wait. Wasn't the guy in the episode? Wasn't he the Riddler?
He was the Riddler. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Beale was the Riddler.
Yeah, and he appeared in a lot of the later, like the 2003, The Adventures of Adam and Bert.
Yeah.
He played the Riddler, and he played some other villains late in his life. So.
No, that Red Alert shot was weird.
Yeah.
It was one of our normal directors too, so that made it weird that they had that.
It was, yeah.
And then all of the reaction shots, that was not normal. Like we kept getting everybody's eyes and their mouths and their eyes, and then it was just
somebody. The color was new, man. You got all these eyes, like, check out those hazel and blue, like shocked faces.
Yes, but we've had 3 seasons of them.
Somebody I talked to.
Beautiful this season. Okay.
Somebody I talked to that wasn't here when we watched it referenced Sergio Leone movies, and it did look very Once Upon a Time in the West. Fistful of Dollars, whatever, and it was which was Once Upon a Time in the West came out just before this episode was filmed, 1968. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Also, my favorite Western.
This was not one of our regular directors. I apologize. This was Judd Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got quite a few credits. And he did direct 5 episodes of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm on my phone now, not my computer. So
this was Robert Justman's last episode
as executive producer.
Yeah.
Oh.
He wasn't happy that Freddie Freiberger was brought on. Neither was anyone else.
Neither are any of us 50 years later.
No. Yeah. So.
Creator Gene
Has it been
Roddenberry.
50 years?
It's been over 50 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Creator Gene Roddenberry was not involved in this season. As much as we complained about how much he screwed other stuff up, it also was a negative.
Yeah, and while we're talking about Frank Gorshin, I thought the 2 guest stars they acted well.
Yeah, they were good. I don't have much to say about them, but they were good.
There was a lot of if somebody wants to find a Shatner being Shatner episode, this is it.
Yeah, there were a few moments.
There was a lot of the gestures and it was
Shatner being Shatner, but like Shatner being Shatner at his best.
Yeah, it's yes.
Best is a subjective term.
I mean,
Jimmy-Jerome and I are big Shatner fans, but
we are.
I'm not. I am not a Shatner fan.
Yeah, well, fair. But
when Shatner's on, he's really, really good.
He's so pretty.
By the way,
he's also really bad at times.
To double back, Lokai, the director, Lou Antonio, directed episodes of Boston Legal with Shatner.
Oh,
I love Boston Legal.
40 years later, so yeah.
Nice. Everything comes back around in Star Trek.
Yeah, but yeah, this episode is the episode. This is the stuff that people when they do their Shatner impersonations, this is the stuff they're pointing to. And I think I've said this a couple times before. I think when the episodes are worse, especially in season 3, that's when I think Shatner is like, I gotta overact just to.
Yeah.
And this one, like from the get-go, like the second the puck's dropped, I know some people don't follow hockey. The second the puck is dropped, he's like, I'm in. I'm overacting right off the bat.
I did like that we got the whole crew in this episode, which seems to be happening more in this later seasons.
Yes, I did appreciate
Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura, Scotty.
Yes.
They were all only in about half the episodes of the series, so it's really nice to get them all in one episode. Because if you noticed, I don't know how much you're familiar with the original, but there were only 3 leads in the original. Mm-hmm. Everybody else was...
No, it was nice to see like everyone.
And Chapel! I mean, Chapel was basically useless in the scene. In the scene, she was the nurse, but still, we got Chapel. That's great. For those
like someone's going down a checklist and it's like, Chapel.
For those of you who aren't super familiar with Majel Barrett, the creator's wife, not only does she play Nurse Chapel, she did the computer voices from the original series,
which we got to hear a lot of tonight,
all the way through Voyager. Mm-hmm. So she got to be the computer and she got to be the nurse in this episode.
The woman in the box.
Just to come back around to Shatner and the acting, I did appreciate his 2 looks when the Lokai and Beale are talking about, well, it's obvious he's black on the left and I'm his reaction shots to that were like America in 2018 to everything. Just like, wait, what? Are you kidding me? Those were the most legitimate reactions he had in the episode. I really appreciated that.
I mean, had Trump still been president, he probably would have banned the black on the left side.
You're right, but no, I'm not even gonna. No, we're not doing that bit anymore.
We're not doing. Oh, by the time this airs, Trump will be in the office.
We're not doing that anymore.
God, we said that in so many episodes.
We know he's gonna be. Yeah, we know this better.
Yeah, he'll still be in office. You keep bringing it back to Shatner. I want to keep bringing it back to the computer. The self-destruct stuff. They had like the equivalent of my code's 1, 2, 3.
That's what
codes were ridiculous.
That's what Colleen said. She's like, those aren't good passwords.
No, they need better passwords.
No.
I mean, I guess it's voice print activated, so maybe the words aren't.
Well, yeah, they are.
The voice,
yeah.
But still, it was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
And is this the only time we need 3 of them to self-destruct? Normally we need 2, right?
No, because Search for Spock is also 3.
It's 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chekhov steps in because they're still searching for Spock.
Right, so
he
Spock
can't do it. Yeah.
No, but I swear in the later spin-offs, it only takes 2 of them to self-destruct the ship.
They improved on it.
Okay.
They probably got better with the passwords.
Make a thing go right.
Kirk, Spock, and Scotty, who's starting to go a little gray.
Yeah.
Starting to see a little bit of movie Scotty in him.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the multicolored liquids of liquor? We had every color represented on the table. Yellow, blue, green, red.
Well,
it's like a real rainbow coat.
That reminds me, there's the one Yeoman that's standing there doing nothing in that scene. And I wrote down she's the IHOP syrup steward. But maybe she was figuring out the different colors of liquid.
Colors, making sure they didn't mix the wrong ones.
Well, I mean, it's obviously already a sensitive situation, as sensitive as the half black, half white guys are.
Yeah.
You gotta monitor the.
Beale had the special neck thing and the special belt thing that Lokai, whatever.
Do they keep calling him an ambassador, Beale?
Commissioner.
Commissioner, that's right.
Commissioner Gordon. I mean Beale. Yeah.
There was no reason for the Enterprise to be involved in any of this.
So Beale's the commissioner. He's hunting him for 50,000 years. Never once checked in. I'm getting pointed at. Would you like to come up and speak? No.
Come say something, because I'm just talking smacking to this mic over here.
Oh, here we go.
Everybody, welcome Kristin Green to the podcast.
Hi, it's my first time. Okay, so that was a weak point that I was thinking about. These guys never checked in and just don't know with all of their super mental powers. They just don't know that their entire planet is being destroyed.
And probably families.
But also, and I don't know if this was the intention, but you can justify it, and if it was, then it's actually kind of smart. They are so wrapped up in whatever the hell this conflict is that they've, this has consumed them for so long that they've forgotten about everything else, because I think they do say that at one point, whatever this is, it's bigger than their planet at this point, because they just have nothing else except whatever their hatred is for each other.
It's a tale of two
in that
cities,
aspect,
Les Miserables
it's brilliant,
reference, right? Who's the guy chasing? Who are the 2 people in Les Mis?
Jean Valjean.
Jean Valjean and Beljourne.
Yeah, so
Beljourne.
it's essentially,
Yeah.
they stole it from that.
It's Les Mis. It's Les Mis in space.
Yeah.
Star Trek stole from Les Mis.
Yes.
Whoa!
Hey!
We normally talk
Maybe-
about how everything
Everybody
was stolen
steals.
from Star Trek.
Oh, I have some notes on that, I think.
Um,
But, yeah.
This came-
Oh, actually, yes, my alternate episode is related to that.
Oh,
But
what's your alternate episode?
Ooh.
as Colleen and I discussed, the entire episode, I was so hungry. Because, I mean, the whole episode is an advertisement for the black and white cookie. Seinfeld? Look to the cookie, Elaine!
God.
Look to the
Okay,
cookie.
alright.
So,
Never
I'm
seen the
so
black and white
hungry.
Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about now.
so,
I was thinking like Oreo because cream and
I mean,
chocolate.
Oreo's great, but
So the alternate episode is they just
Oreo's
stop on
also
a planet
vegan.
that has black and white cookies.
my alternate episode is to get back to their planet, and their planet's like, why are you guys still fighting? We got over this race crap centuries ago.
I will say this: the fact that he's been chasing for 50,000 years means his family has to have expanded probably over 50,000 years.
Sure. He's got grandkids he hasn't met.
This is why they never contact their home planet. I'm like, I don't want to talk to any of those people. 50,000 years? Can you imagine how big your friggin' family is? I don't want to talk to any of those people.
This is just
At least
ancient
50,000
period in
years.
these people.
I
Like,
feel-
do they like carry babies for like 6 months, or is like
that's
5
a good
years?
question.
That
That's a good
depends.
question.
Like you're carrying
I mean-
a kid for like 10 years. That's not as big a deal.
I feel like Beale was one of those
Women
people married to his job. He probably didn't have a wife and kids at home.
I don't know. He might have been like.
Either that or he had a really
wild
bad
lips.
marriage.
Well, and what happens if one of Lokai's people and one of Beale's people, if they
Oh,
mingle,
God.
is it?
Man, then they're like checkerboard.
Yikes.
Checkerboard.
Oh, they're like checkerboard chicks. Like
Yeah.
Well, they'd never know now. I mean, it's too late.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I thought it was interesting that they said, "Oh, we don't see any like widespread cause of the destruction, but there's
we
bodies
don't see
everywhere."
color.
And so my first thought was virus, but clearly they meant to imply, "Oh no, we just murdered each other until there was nobody left." But I'm like, wouldn't the last murderer still be alive and hanging out on the planet? Just I don't know. And then all of their like hallucinations were of fire, which I thought was pretty odd and did not really fit with what they were going for.
Those shots are from World War II Germany burning when we bombed it.
Oh,
And by we, I mean USA, yeah!
I mean, they
USA,
kind of
USA.
and Germany acknowledges it.
Yeah.
So
And one of the new effects was you could see the cities burning on the planet.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. You
That
could still
was
see lights
new.
from space.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Dead-
They were
everybody's
burning,
dead.
but the fires were still burning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so that was an added
a
modern addition
Yes.
to.
Oh, yeah,
God,
you guys haven't
no.
seen.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't
The
seen the-
planets and the old effects are just a blur of one color.
No.
Well,
I don't.
so basically the camera's got like bifocals or something like that. Okay. But you can see the details of the gore. And
See, and I don't like that. Like, if I'm watching something from like the 60s or the 70s, I want to see it the way it was back then. I really
So,
do.
The
Like,
Blu-rays that we normally watch
Yeah.
episodes on give you the choice, and we generally go for the newer
But we'll go
because
back
we've
and look
already
at the
seen
old
older.
ones. Yeah.
well,
It's
then,
not
yeah.
like-
So then you can talk about
Yeah.
We'll go
sure
back and
the
look at the old
difference.
We go back and look at specific
Yeah.
scenes so that we
Sure.
can compare. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry,
Guest.
yes. The thing I found really, really odd in this episode was when Spock was eavesdropping, the door to the rec room was just a little bit ajar.
That was weird.
Why was it like it normally opens and closes automatically?
Well, and for the people that hadn't seen it before, to that point, like, and I thought it was clear. I in my memory, it was like, oh, they both make good points, but in rewatching, it was like, oh no, Frank Gorshin's clearly the bad guy.
Yeah.
Did you guys all feel that way? That
Yes.
the
Beale
Beale was the bad guy? Yeah. And yeah.
You know what we didn't do? What we're supposed to do when we have new guests is ask them what their Star Trek experience is. Like,
Well,
what did you watch?
We're here now.
Alanna,
All right. So what is the question?
what
was your
Star
first-
Trek are you familiar with? Like,
I am probably most familiar with Voyager because that's what was on the air when I was growing up, and my uncle is a huge Trekkie. But I've seen all the movies. I've watched the original series. I don't have strong opinions on the original series, but like Voyager is the strongest in my memory. Besides the new movies that came out with like Chris Pine and what's
yeah, Kristin.
Next Generation and Voyager are more my time
Sure.
growing up. Original series was more sporadic, and I know I've seen way less of those than either.
Have you
of
seen
the-
good ones? That
I have
just
seen.
could
I've
not be
seen
represented?
some good ones.
Okay,
this was
good.
not one of them.
No,
but
no, I
have
don't think
seen.
it was, but it always. It makes me sad if we have a guest that's not that familiar with the original series and like the bad episode is the one that.
Well, and just from what you guys said earlier, I was wondering, like, okay, is this Shatner being Shatner because he wasn't the focus, because it was
That's
sort of
possible, too.
Shatner hates that being the focus.
Yeah, so I feel like that's when he, like, maybe as an actor
Shatner.
retreats to being the most himself, is because this is not a me-centric episode, so maybe that's
Exactly.
why.
This
because,
is one of only
yeah.
3 or 4 episodes that it's felt like that.
He was throwing down constant arbitrary things about, well, on our ship, this is how we handle things, and I'm the captain, and this
It's like,
is how we
shut up,
handle
this is not about you, Kirk. Like,
Yeah,
shut up.
exactly. It's like,
Shatner.
Do you guys
Kirk,
think it was justified? Like, oh, you're not gonna let me go where I want to go? I'm gonna kill 500 people.
I don't know how he would have gotten out of that.
No, he's
if,
not
like,
justified in
no,
that.
No.
Kirk,
Now,
go,
see,
go sit in the corner.
I'm gonna make a rare disagreement. I
Oh,
felt like
of course he would.
I'm
Go
sorry.
for it. Go for it.
I'm sorry, but I felt like in this situation, he was being taken hostage by a terrorist. And similar how we say we don't negotiate with terrorists, Kirk's like, look, I'm not going to let you hijack the ship and do
Right.
whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
This is my ship. I'm responsible for these people. I don't know if he would have gone all the way to self-destruct if he hadn't been stopped, but it was certainly a bluff worth making, I think.
Yeah.
I keep dwelling on this.
I think he definitely should have canceled the last second, but I think it was a bluff worth making.
I keep dwelling on this 50,000 year thing, but
Yeah.
I would think most people would be like, God, I've been alive for 55,000 years, just kill me. But it clearly
you
these
would have
guys
at
were like,
least checked in to see what
mean, he
was going
kind
on
of
with your planet at that
right.
point.
But these guys were just like, my hate will keep me alive or whatever. So, yeah. And
I mean, the hate keeping you alive is a familiar story.
it is
See,
again one of those things that self-destruct thing. Not only did it become canon, but it's been spoofed in other spoofed and stolen in other shows. Does anyone know how to decontaminate a planet?
Apparently it takes 2 seconds.
Because nothing
give
happens.
up?
He's like, hey, keep
Shane,
decontaminating
get
it,
over here.
and nothing happens, right? I was like, oh, is there an effect for this? Also,
Well, I felt like the whole episode was like, we have to decontaminate. We have to decontaminate. Okay, we're here. It takes 5 seconds. Okay, we're done.
plus, first time Kirk's like, there are millions of lives at stake. Next time he's like, there's 1 billion lives at stake.
The number did keep going up. It was really like 12 people.
I had problems with both of them.
but
First time, like, there's only millions of people on the planet, which I guess,
It can
depends
happen.
how many.
well, it was
Again,
really
I'm-
On a
nobody.
very
I'm
remote
Earth-centric.
planet like Mars or something,
Right.
there could be like
You're right.
thousands or millions would make sense.
I'm being Earth-centric. I'm thinking there's got to be
Yeah,
billions.
Earth is not the center.
But then
universe, okay?
later, Kirk's
What?
like,
Wait. No.
It is not.
I know. There was a Star Trek movie where they went to the center of the universe and met God. This wasn't it.
God.
although while we're there,
What does God need with a
they do get in the conversation about how these guys aren't like anything we've ever experienced in the entire universe because they're humanoid, but their skin is half. I'm like, wait a minute, you talked to the Medusans and you met Klingons and Andorians. I'm like, these guys.
They've never met someone that's so
Hey, Ruse,
boring
you
it's
gotta
barely
meet-
off of humanity.
You
That
gotta
is
meet
such
people on their
boring-
level. That means people
That's
have
such
never
a
even
boring
thought of
race.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And why
it
did
is.
both the actors have to be white? Like, I'm sorry, but why?
Oh, that's a good point too.
Misinformation.
That's a good point.
They
too.
were half
Balls.
blackface, half mime face.
I know,
Yeah.
but
That's
a
why
really
did
good
they
point.
both
That was
have to
other-
be
yeah.
so white? Like their hair and like just
Oh, that's true.
clearly
That's a good
so
point.
white.
And either way, your teeth look more
Because
yellow.
of the
And you notice the
patriarchy.
random Asian woman in the
And
corridor? Like, we need to add a little more
because of
diversity in this
racism.
episode.
Okay,
Oh, during
and-
the red alert when no one was running.
And I know
The red
it's
alert
brought up on this
scare quotes.
podcast so much. I know it is. So like I don't need to represent.
That's
And
okay.
I've heard
You're
this
new.
so much. But man, watching it like so recently, it's like the women, their roles are just so pathetic.
Yeah.
It was so pitiful.
Well, like you heard us trying to tell Kirk something, he cuts her off. And then when
Oh.
Scotty's talking, he lets him finish his sentence.
Oh no! And then when they're talking to Lokai,
Yeah.
and there's a nurse there, and then it's
There's
just
Shepard.
it's the three men talking, and then it cuts back. It's like, oh yeah, there's a woman in the room, right? Like I forgot she was there.
How
Oh, my
amazing it
God.
must be to be a mediocre white
So-
dude.
Oh,
We've
jeez.
gone over this so many times that
I know.
for its time, Star Trek was as progressive as it could be.
I know.
They tried to have a female first officer, and the network would not let them.
Right.
Yeah.
The original pilot, actually, the nurse played the first officer in the original pilot.
Imagine
Right.
Her natural
Right.
dark hair.
And
yeah.
well, and the I just
And
listened
now
to-
Rebecca Romaine's playing her in Discovery, which I'm super pumped.
well,
for.
I just listened to our Day of the Dove episode.
Oh, I got a face from Kristin.
And we talked about how the Klingon Empire somehow has commanders that are women, but the Enterprise, the Federation,
Reds.
can't
Yeah.
really handle that.
Yeah, we saw a Romulan female commander. We saw female officers on
Yeah.
the Klingon ships.
I'm sorry. I'm like, all right, Star Trek is amazing. It's very progressive, and like, for instance, like Uhura, like she's like.
That's
wasn't
okay.
a maid or a slave or like subservient.
Right.
She was actually out there like doing stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's really progressive. The fact that like MLK was just like encouraging people, like she was going to quit the show.
Yeah,
and she was
we've
like,
told that story.
yeah, you guys
Yeah.
have already talked. You have talked about
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, of course.
Oh,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
like, that is a big deal. But I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, in a lot of
Then
ways,
MLK
it's just
was like,
like
you can't quit.
you can't quit because you're showing like. I can attest to this from like my mother and my uncle and my grandmother and like my family. I'm like, they watch Star Trek. Like, I come from a family of Trekkies because of like Uhura. Like, yeah, in a lot of ways it fails. We're like, oh, these white guys
Yeah.
are
Since
like
it's a
talking
podcast,
over.
it might be worth the context to point out that you're an African American.
Oh yeah. So I am
That's
a
true.
multiracial person. I am Hawaiian. I'm Indigenous American. I'm African American. I'm brown. You look at me, I look like I'm African American. But like the fact that like Star Trek has brought like my family together, like me and my brother, we are the most American people you will ever meet, like genetically or whatever. Like Star Trek. Like,
Yeah, that's the problem with the 60s Star Trek is we have plenty of we can complain about sexism and racism and stuff.
But it is
But
so
compared to
important.
everything else on television at the
Yeah.
time, it was
Yeah,
very
we are watching it from our modern interpretation,
Yeah.
and it's hard to remember.
is.
Like for the time, you were grateful for what you got.
Yeah, no,
and,
like,
and that's,
seriously, like, the
there is
fact that
something to be
Uhura
said for
was
that. But
not,
yeah,
like,
at this
a
stage, it's
maid
like it's
or
really
just, like-
frustrating.
Well,
Yeah,
Star
it's
Trek, and the
crazy.
fact that I think what gets me a little bit like, okay, Star Trek did the best they could, is they tried for more, and the network constantly said no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
like the crazy
Yeah.
Star Trek said, oh, this is good enough
Right.
representation.
Yeah. But yeah, that was actually there were a lot of different shots in this episode from Judd Taylor. Is that?
Yeah, Judd
Yeah.
Taylor was the
So there were a lot of like weird shots of the Enterprise. There were the shots of the Red Alert, and then the weird, fade in on Uhura. So
You mean the spectacular fade in on Uhura?
yeah.
She's
Oh well, yeah.
glorious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wrote this down. I can't remember who said it. Oh, I think it's McCoy probably. And then he gets racist. He's
he's
like
Irish.
blood is blood.
He's Southern.
And then he starts ripping into Spock about his green blood and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
He's
He's not racist, he's speciesist.
well, yeah, and I thought
That's the 23rd century.
I
version of
thought the
racism.
whole thing about
True.
when they're like they're like, well, there was a weird like talk about like through the universe species blah blah blah, and I was like, it reminded me of the one where they're like, well, it's binary in the whole universe. You're either male or female.
Oh yeah, where they talked about gender's binary.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting when they're like, oh, it's in the southernmost part of the galaxy. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, we got it. It's in the south.
The South.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the racist aliens are from the southern part of the galaxy.
I wonder why.
What is that even? I wish Keith was here for this. Like,
Interesting.
what's the
I know,
southern?
right? Yeah, but they never did say the name of the episode in this one. They got close a couple,
They got real close.
Real close.
but not quite this time.
Yeah.
Star Trek has some very esoteric titles that they just can't work into the dialogue.
There is one thing in this episode which apparently we're on a different timeline. They mentioned there's no persecution after the 20th century.
Like,
Missed it by that much.
God,
That was very hopeful of them.
It was.
That's
It was
so nice.
Ah,
How
so
sweet.
So cute.
Aw.
So cute. Ah, you
So
60s
close.
guys. Actually, speaking of her, she says that I can't remember if it's from Starfleet Command or whoever. She's like, Ariana says go ahead.
Ariana says go ahead.
Yeah. And this didn't happen while we were watching it with a group of people, but everyone I talked to was like, what was the deal with those guys running, their running styles?
Their running was awful.
And I
That
know
was really bad.
jogging was not invented or coined until the 70s, but
Jogging.
what the hell were they doing?
Yeah, that did not look like a running from or running toward anything. That was like a
I like how they were both on like deck 3, and then they're like, "Oh, now this guy's on deck 5." I'm like, we didn't see him get in the elevator.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah,
Well, I
how
just
did
love the
that
Spock
happen?
play-by-play. Just in case you're wondering, here's where they are.
And yet Spock
Now they're
missed
here.
that he was beaming down until he was beaming down.
Right.
Oh, there's nobody in the transporter. Oh, but now he's on the plane.
By the way, how did they know how to use transporters?
They were highly advanced.
Yeah.
Highly advanced people are the worst people in the universe.
I know.
Are they
We run into
We've
them
talked
so
about this.
Still
None of
did
them-
not detect that their planet was being destroyed.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Why don't check it?
Exactly. Yeah, like,
I
mean,
don't get
They clearly
it.
don't have a mother who was like, "You never call me.
Yeah.
Why don't you call me?"
and this is one positive, I think, a positive aspect of the episode, which was cited in the stuff I read. And this is one that has it's not a happy ending. It's not happy. They're just like, yep,
That's true.
these guys are screwed.
I did
just
like
gonna keep
that.
fighting
I
for
did
it.
like
Yeah.
that the ending, it wasn't like wrapped up in a bow, like it wasn't
Yeah.
anything.
There's
That was kind of nice.
I mean, after 50,000 years of hate, you can't just get over it because your planet's destroyed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
As far as like having an
50,000 years
episode
of
that like
hate.
almost didn't need to happen, it was sort of nice that they at least didn't leave it like
Yeah.
wrapped up
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
Oh, guess what? They made up.
Oh, isn't that cute? Let's
Guess
go.
what? They have male and female genitalia. They're going to repopulate the planet.
Oh, everyone's
Actually,
now.
that's my second alternative episode.
Men, women of Star Trek, Stephen, we did a couple episodes past this, but you were Alanna at that. There's nobody that knocks off your ranking, right?
No, the IHOP Yeoman would not.
Okay. Yeah, I
Wait,
agree.
who was I? Who was my?
You were Alan when we got to this episode, but then last time you
Oh.
switched to Lucira.
Who was that?
I don't remember from That Which Survives.
Oh yeah,
I
Lee
also
Merriweather.
switched to her.
Oh yeah, Lee Merriweather. Yeah.
Oh,
of course,
Catwoman. Yeah, of
Miss
course we
America.
switched her.
Yeah, Catwoman.
Yeah. No,
Speaking
we're-
of Bat,
we're gonna
oh,
keep
that's
her.
the Batman reference we forgot about when we were listening to all the Batman.
We'll keep her.
Yeah.
Let's rank the episode. Let's start towards the top because while it wasn't great, season 3 is kind of weak overall.
Yeah.
Let's go with Day of the Dove, the Klingon episode. Better or worse?
Below.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That Which Survives,
We really
which
like
actually
that.
comes after this in the sequence, but it's the last one we watched.
Yeah, I would take it below.
Okay. The Empath with Diana Mulder from The Next Generation. You two probably don't remember these.
Wait,
I
I'm
know
trying to
that
remember
one.
this.
You know that
was,
one?
I would
One of
put
the things
this
I probably
below
have
it.
seen this episode, I just don't remember it properly.
I thought Empath was somebody else.
Oh, you're right. Diana Mulder was an empath. She
She
was
was-
in Is There in Truth No Beauty?
Yes.
Which is our current top ranked for season 3.
I would probably go lower.
Yeah,
I-
I think so too. Alanna of Troyes.
Kind of sounds like my name, so I'm going to rank it above.
This is below. I remember that one also. This is below most of the ones I remember, to be quite honest.
So we're now in the
I
middle
would probably
of season
go.
3, which
I
I
would
think
probably
is fair.
go below.
I would go below as well. The Tholian Web.
I don't know that one.
What's
as well
okay.
enough.
This is what I always do. What's below the Tholian one?
Wink of an Eye.
Oh, we liked Wink of an
Did we?
Eye.
I don't
Not that
remember
much.
Wink of
No,
an Eye.
I'm confusing that with a different one.
I mean, I kind of feel like this is above the Tholian Web. Tholian Web was not a good episode.
No.
That must have been bad.
All right, what's below Wink of an Eye?
The Paradise Syndrome.
Oh, that's right. I like Paradise Syndrome more.
Than this? Or that's where you disagreed with the
No,
ranking?
I'm a bigger fan of Paradise Syndrome than you guys, than
Yeah.
the rest of us.
That's what I'm saying. At least this had. I mean, Tholian Web's kind of an iconic episode as well. It's the one that gets retconned in Enterprise
It is.
as a Mirror Universe episode, even though it didn't seem like
Wait,
we were watching.
what? Sorry, what's below Tholian Web? Right.
Wink of an Eye, then Paradise Syndrome, then Spectre of the Gun, which this was definitely
Oh.
better than Spectre of the Gun.
You're gonna have to
Definitely
sell me
better.
on that.
Definitely better. Spectre of the Gun was terrible. We're meeting Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday.
Yeah,
In a weird kind of half world. Where things hang from midair and the sky's red.
Can you see the strings?
I would.
Yes.
Can you see the strings?
Yes. And they were okay with that because there's like pieces of wall missing.
Okay.
It was very trippy.
It might be better than Tholian Web, but I think I like Wink of an Eye and Paradise Syndrome more. So I have
I
dissonance.
don't remember either of them, so I'm gonna go with you. What do you want? Where do you want to put it?
Let's halfway it. Let's put it between Tholian Web and Wink of an Eye.
Okay, that's where I was gonna rank it above Flame, but yes, we'll put it there. Next week
Is that which survives? Right? Is that?
is this the Mark of Gideon, I believe, is next week, right?
Oh, did we already?
We already did.
Oh, that's right.
We
We
already
already-
did a couple episodes past this. because we were saving this for the live show.
We're
'Cause
time traveling.
Based on all of the choices we had for this part of the season, we were like, this one's the best one to do live. Anyway, so we'll be back next week for the Mark Gideon. Thank you for joining us for West Grandview Fringe Fest.
Yay!
And have a good night.
Live long
Good
and
night.
prosper.
It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?